everyone, and welcome to Wine.com virtual experiences. I'm Gwendolyn Osborne. We are really excited that y'all are here tonight with us today to join us to talk America's favorite winery, Kendall-Jackson. So thank you for coming, and we're going to be talking and tasting through 3 different Kendall-Jackson wines. And bonus for you, not only are we going to be tasting these amazing wines, but we are also going to be pairing them with food, which is going to be really awesome because we're talking to the Jackson chef for that. So I want to dive right in because we have these 3 wines and 3 pairings. If you have already purchased these wines from Wine.com, I encourage you to go ahead and get those bottles open, get them into your glasses. If you're able to have 3 separate glasses side by side to taste these, I highly encourage it. If you aren't able to do that, or you don't like doing a lot of glassware dishes, totally fine. You can just taste with us kind of wine by wine. The 3 wines that we will be tasting today in order of appearance are the Kendall-Jackson Vintners Reserve Chardonnay, the Kendall-Jackson Vintners Reserve Pinot Noir, and the Kendall-Jackson Grand Reserve Cabernet Sauvignon. So those are the 3 wines that we're going to be tasting. And let's get to our guests without any further ado. Joining me today are Randy Ullom, who is wine master at Kendall-Jackson, the one and only. So welcome, Randy. It is really great to see you. See you. Hi. Hello, Randy. How are you?
I am great, and you?
Great. I am doing fantastic because I have some Chardonnay in my glass. We also have Justin Wangler, who is executive chef for Jackson Family Wines, joining us with some awesome pairings in the wine. Give a little wave. He is there in his awesome kitchen at the winery. Thank you so much for joining us here. So I want to start with the wines, but before we do, Randy, can you tell me, your title is Chief Wine Master, and how does that differ from winemaker?
Well, I think that actually the fact that we have so many different vineyards and wineries up and down the cool coast of California and things that we're looking after, that wine master, it's actually a very a nice title, but we have a killer team of all these great assistant winemakers and winemakers, and I just lead them all. So it's quite an honor and a privilege.
It is. That sounds like a wonderful honor. I know you've been with Kendall-Jackson for so long and you're behind so many of these wonderful wines. So let's start tasting them. Randy, I want to start with the Kendall-Jackson Vintners Reserve Chardonnay. So this is one of America's favorite Chardonnays, and you can tell just by how many people buy it at Wine.com. It's consistently one of our #1 sellers. And it's no wonder, because I feel like it has this beautiful brightness to it and this really lovely richness just every year after year. And people love it. And you seem to have a magic touch. So let's taste through this and tell us a little bit about your vision behind this, as well as just what we should expect as we're going through it.
Well, I think that the magic touch is actually, it all starts in the vineyard. And all of our vineyards are along the cool coast of California. And the majority of the grapes that go into this wine are from our own vineyards. So we're kind of responsible for everything from start to finish.
Right.
We also have all of our own wineries to produce this in. What's really, really nice is you have this different flavor profile. As you look at the wine, you can see it's got this beautiful golden hue to it, and that's really from getting the grapes nice and ripe and the barrel fermentation and things like that. But KJ in our Chardonnay comes from multiple counties along the cool coast. So up in Mendocino, you have the crisp green apple tones. Sonoma County brings you the ripe apple, and Carneros, that sort of rich pear, oily pear tone. And then you go down to Monterey and you have all the lemon and the lime characters. And then further south in Santa Barbara County, you get all of the tropical pineapple, mango, papaya tones. So you can, when you smell this, kind of swirl it around and give it a good nose, a good smell, and then you sip it. Everything that you smell in this wine, you will also taste. And then on top of all that, because it's almost entirely barrel fermented, about 95%, So that adds this really richness to the palate, kind of fills it out. And then since we are barrel fermenting the wine, we stir the lees every month, and that adds a sort of silky essence and creaminess to the side of the palate. So it's very consistent from year in to year out because we're not changing around vineyards all the time. And we have a great team of winemakers and vineyard managers. So and we are blessed with beautiful sunshine, just like today. And the neat thing about this wine is when you smell it, you can taste it, and it has this really long finish that just beckons for another sip. A couple of sips lead to a bottle, or a glass first, actually, and then a bottle. Well, a bottle leads to a case, and voila.
And voila. Yeah, the texture of this wine is just so beautiful. And I love that you're able to keep it year after year. Such a beautiful kind of consistent wine with, working with vineyards, different vineyards, and taking the best of each and everything. So I think the texture is really key.
Well, the texture is key. I mean, for any wine, you want it to feel good and, please the sensations in your palate. And then on the finish, to have a really long finish. And the longer that finish goes, the better the wine. And if it's pleasant to your first sip, then you'll continue to drink it over and over again.
Yeah, it's beautiful. We love it. Customers love it. Consumers love it. And now I want to pair the recipe with it. I want Justin to talk about this, but let me tell you first where these recipes are coming with. We're going to introduce you to 3 recipes here. They're all coming from Seasons, which is Justin's cookbook. And one of the reasons I love this cookbook is that it is based on the seasons. That's how kind of it's organized. So all of the recipes for each season really focus on, I guess, what's in abundance in our stores, in our gardens, in our farmers markets. And all the recipes kind of together just take in what we already have so much of and make these really incredible recipes. So for the Chardonnay, Justin, you picked this awesome one. I'm really excited because I'm a sucker for anything that calls for a pack of ranch seasoning. Just call me nostalgic. So I think it's kind of this really great gourmet take on a very nostalgic dip. So tell us about it, why you chose it, why it pairs well with the Chardonnay. Leave it to you.
So the great thing about this Chardonnay is it tastes good with almost everything. If I had to drink one wine for the rest of my life, it would definitely be Chardonnay. And it would definitely be Randy's, because it's hard to find food that tastes bad with this wine. And I think that's because of Randy and the grapes, and a lot to do with our success. It's a really great tasting food wine. So the pickle dip's just kind of a fun one. It's super simple, and we're just going to start off by adding a little bit of mayonnaise and a little bit of sour cream here. And this is actually my project manager, Janet Ando's recipe. It was her grandma's recipe for pickle dip. And we tried not to put the ranch in it, packet ranch, but we just couldn't get it to taste the way it would have when she grew up. So we kept it in there. We try and use some great pickles. We like Bubby's pickles for that. And you just grate it on a grater and mix it in. And then I just chopped some fresh herbs, some tarragon and dill. And I always like to chop the herbs at the last minute because you get all those essential oils out. And it really is aromatic and you get a lot of flavor. So that's what kind of takes that pickle dip to the next level, is the balance between the umami and the salty ranch and those fresh herbs. And a lot of times we'll fry our own chips with it. But today we just use some ruffles. So if you have those at home, they got some ridges on there and they're great for picking up pickle dip. And it's kind of a textural pairing. We got the richness from the mayonnaise and the sour cream that matches the texture of the wine.
So yeah, I actually made this dip. This is the only recipe I actually made, but I was really excited to buy Ruffles again, and I made a dip. And I love that you just said just a little bit of mayonnaise. That means it's such a Southern recipe when you dump like a cup of mayonnaise, just a little bit of mayonnaise, just a little. Anyways, I'm going to taste it with the Chardonnay as well, with my old school Ruffles.
So a lot of times when you're pairing on texture. You're trying to match not just the flavors in the wine always, but the texture as well. Rich texture from the sour cream, mayonnaise. So should be good. Let me know what you think.
I like it. I doubt it's as good as yours, but it's good. And I love I always say that's when you kind of complement the flavors, the richness with the richness, and that works really well. And yeah, I mean, this is such a versatile wine, and it kind of goes with so many different things. So you can kind of get some kind of more pungent flavors like this dip and make it work. So why don't we move to the Pinot Noir next? So Randy, just like the it's the Vintners Reserve Pinot Noir, and just like the Pinot Noir, just like the Vintners Reserve Chardonnay, it's a blend of different sites. I think
That's
correct.
true.
And so tell us a little bit about what went into this, because I know it's just a delicious, easy drinking wine with lots of great flavor.
So this follows sort of the same theory and profile that the Chardonnay does for growing regions, because both Chardonnay and Pinot love cool climates along the cool coast of California with the fog intrusions and the cold air and the cold ocean. And that gives you a nice longer growing season. The longer it takes to get a grape ripe, the better the flavors and the natural acids will be. But similar to Chardonnay, where you have these great different sort of flavor areas and flavor profiles from the different regions, that happens with Pinot also. So the Pinot that comes, and it's a blend of it's 100% Pinot. And
right.
By the way, the Chardonnay was 100% Chardonnay.
Got it.
The 100% Pinot, the Santa Barbara portion gives you some of that sort of forest floor and richness, forest floor nose and palate, and forest and leaves, dried leaves in the nose and the mouth. And then you go up to Monterey and you get more of the sort of strawberry, raspberry tones, the brighter fruit. But also the Monterey area gives you this sort of silky essence in the side of the palate. And then you go up to Sonoma and Mendocino County in the Anderson Valley, and there you get this really powerful, dark cherry, black cherry tone, and the tannin structure kind of goes up several notches to really build out the structure. And then all of this wine, after we pick the grapes and fermented it, mostly in open top containers as we can. And then you also have the aging that's going on. And the aging happens in nice French oak barrels. And they add a nice little nuance of a toasty oak component. Not very much, because we want the fruit to show through. The oak should be kind of in the background, sort of the orchestra in the background of a musical. And with that little oak kiss and all of that dark fruit, it kind of melds out that mid palate and gives you, again, a nice long finish. So the trick to a great wine is basically it's got to look good, it's got to smell good, it's got to taste good, and it's got to finish good. Touche.
That sounds totally easy to do, right? Except it's not that easy, and you do a wonderful job with this. It's just so beautiful.
Well, we're really blessed because with all the great vineyards we have and the great team. And the other thing that we do that a lot of people don't realize is we keep all of our blocks separate, all of the clones separate. So we go over and above the call of duty to be able to put these blends together, and then also go right back to the vineyard and make sure they're doing good, or where we can improve, or things like that. But it's kind of crazy when you think about the number of blocks that go into this.
That's why they call you the wine master. Well deserved. This is a lovely wine. It's got wonderful fruit. It's got great texture. All of these wines seem to do. Justin, what did you choose for us to pair with this Pinot?
So we have a really nice salad here with a lot of different colors and textures. And this is great because everything except the strawberries, we're a little bit early for strawberries. All this is from the garden. So we have beautiful beets that we roasted, purple radishes, shiso, which is one of my favorite herbs. And this is a cool one because it's red on the bottom, green on the top. You see it used a lot in Japanese cuisine. So we have some Japanese flavors in the background. This is an ume plum vinaigrette, and ume plum is a preserved, salty, sour plum from Japan. They actually eat them for hangovers a lot of times. We have these borage flowers, which kind of have a cucumber flavor. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the beets in here, and some strawberries in there, and a little bit of that ume vinaigrette, and some salt. And then we cut the beets in a couple different shapes. And then I'm going to show you a nice little trick for cutting anything thin with a mandolin. So you don't have one of these at home, they're great, but they're also somewhat dangerous. If you ask any chef how many times they've lost their fingertip, they'll definitely have a story to tell you. But a good trick is to put whatever you're slicing onto a fork, and then you can just, if y'all can see that at home, it's super easy. You never have to worry about your fingers. Then I have some toasted sesame seeds, black sesame. And I like to use black sesame seeds with strawberries a lot because it kind of reminds me of the look of the seeds on there. And then we're going to add some fresh chopped shiso. The shiso is a Japanese mint. In Korea, they call it Korea. But it's got this amazing flavor that works really well with Pinot. And again, wait until the last minute to really chop those herbs to get that flavor out. Just a touch of salt. Mix that up. So we have the sweet, earthy, beet flavor. We got the fruit flavor from the strawberry. We got the shiso going on. So a lot of different flavors that are be really nice with this Pinot. But it's nice to have a vegetarian, crisp, clean dish for a red wine. It's a nice one for a hot day. And today it's probably, it's probably 80 degrees out there. And if we have time, I'd love to grab the camera and take you for a quick spin on the garden to show you what it looks like out there, because it's absolutely spectacular. So we're just going to garnish with some fresh strawberries. I got some fried baby leeks from the garden to give it a little crunch and a little savoriness. And the borage flowers. And borage is a plant that you can use the leaves, but they're kind of prickly. So a lot of times we'll blanch them and put them in gnocchi or soups. They also make oil out of it. You'll see borage oil in health food markets. That's a nice, simple little salad. Lots of different flavors, lots of different textures, earthy and fruity for Pinot Noir.
That's perfect. I love the idea of a salad with a Pinot, and I love that you're pairing that earth and the fruit together. It's just, and it's gorgeous. It's just such pretty colors. It's really lovely. I wish I had some in front of me, but I don't. But thank you for sharing that. It's beautiful. Okay, next up we have a Cabernet. So this is, rather than the Vintners Reserve, this is the Grand Reserve Cabernet. And I believe, Randy, you'll tell us all about it, but I believe this is Sonoma, appellated from Sonoma County, and has a little bit of blended other varieties in it, which is very typical. So could you tell us a little bit about the process of making this and your vision behind this wine?
Sure. So this is our Kendall-Jackson Grand Reserve Cabernet Sauvignon, Sonoma County. What's really slick about this is it blends the best of the two regions that we have in Sonoma for growing great Cab, which is Knights Valley and the Alexander Valley. The difference between those, even though they have the same common mountain range, the Mayacamas, is really the dirt. And at KJ, all of our vineyards are what we call on mountains, ridges, hillsides, and benches. Nothing on the valley floor, because we want to kind of stress these little vines out a little bit and give them a good view up on these mountaintops. In fact, if you have a vineyard that has a good view, it should make a spectacular wine. And these all have good views. Now in the Knights Valley, you have this beautiful kind of a beige blonde colored volcanic rock soil that really affects not only the nose, the aromatics, but the tannins. They're very voluptuous and round and mouth-filling. And then you go kind of a little bit further north of Knights Valley, still in Sonoma County, still along the Mayacamas mountain range, and up at around 2,000 feet or so of elevation, overlooking the Alexander Valley, you have more of the soil, and the volcanic rock is more of a sort of a maroon, dark red colored fractured igneous rock. So that gives you another kind of a tannin structure, which is more linear and direct. And when you taste this is what's fun about this. It's a blend of the two, and all mountain vineyards. So you get a lot of sort of cassis, black currant, little kiss of vanilla, and things like that in the nose. But what's really fun is obviously that carries through to the palate, because it's got to smell good first, and then taste great, and then it's got to have that nice finish. So when you taste this wine, you can feel those tannins, but they're not enamel stripping tannins. We want you to maintain your teeth in a good fashion, but they should be pleasant enough where you realize this is a killer Cab, but you would like another another little sip. And we love to pick these grapes, and they're really nice and ripe. And the trick about these mountain vineyards is that the vines are kind of stressed, the yields are a little lower, the clusters are fewer, and the berries are smaller. The smaller the berry, the greater, believe it or not, the ratio of the skin to the juice. So the higher that ratio, the more color, tannin, and flavor and concentration you're going to get. And that's what's in this glass.
Yes, that is certainly what's in this glass. There's this wonderful fruit concentration. Those tannins, like you said, they're there and they're present, but they're really riper and rounder. That said, I do think it calls for something kind of big and bold to pair with it. So Justin, we have this robust, full-bodied wine. What would you choose to pair with this?
So we got something fun today, a sandwich. We call this our braised red cabbage and tri-tip sandwich. And I moved to California from North Carolina, and I didn't know what tri-tip was when I got here. This is a long time ago. But tri-tip is from the bottom sirloin, and it's a really great cut of meat. It's very popular in sandwiches in California, and also served with beans a lot of times. It's what they consider barbecue in California, Santa Maria style barbecue. I think the key to it is just slicing it in the right direction. So cooking it, letting it rest. I like to cook it really, really high heat on the grill, and then move it to a low spot. Cook it and let it rest. That's the key. This one is from Snake River Farms, and we cooked it to about 130 degrees probably. It's nice and rare on the inside. We let it rest for about a half hour. But then the key is really looking at the grain, because the grain sometimes can run different directions in it. And then slicing it against the grain, that's going to keep it really tender. So we're just going to slice this up. We cooked some cabbage off earlier. It's got pomegranate molasses, a little bit of bacon fat in there, and Cabernet as well. So it's kind of sweet and sour. We're going to put that in the bottom of our sandwich. My pastry chef Buttercup made these beautiful cookies today. These are a little sesame roll here. We're going to put that on the bottom. So we got kind of sweet, sour cabbage on the bottom. We're going to have the richness from this beautiful tri-tip. A little spiciness from baby arugula from the garden. It's going to give it some pepper to it. And then we have amazing blue cheese from Point Reyes Creamery. And we made some blue cheese dressing with that. That's going to just, again, add some tang, some umami, and a little bit of fat to it. And that is the sandwich there. And we actually, a couple of years ago, we entered a tri-tip cook-off, and we won with this sandwich here. So that one's in the cookbook. It's a fun one, and it's got all the flavors going on there.
Good.
And it makes that cab seem even smoother.
I kind of wish I could just kind of pull that sandwich from this screen into my kitchen at this point to go with this, but it looks fantastic. And for those of you who might be elsewhere, it's a wonderful thing of California with so many wonderful local places. He was listing some of the ingredients coming into that, but there are other places that do all of these kinds of the meat and the cheese and everything, and those just look delicious. So thank you. I'm sure that's an amazing pairing here. All of these wines, I think one thing to kind of point out is that they're all extremely food friendly. I mean, first, they're very drinkable and delicious and sometimes go down too easy, but they're all very food friendly, which I think is really important in kind of looking for wines that you want to have at meals, lunch or dinner at this rate. But I did want to also quickly point out the book. And then, Justin, I'm going to have you take us out to the garden. But let me talk a little bit about the cookbook. And I actually, hold on, let me grab my copy. So, Seasons Cookbook, it's this beautiful book. I mean, some of the imagery in here is also just absolutely fantastic. So this is the cookbook that we were using that we're using to pair with the wines today. And for those of you registered for this tasting, we're going to send you a link of how to purchase this cookbook with a nice discount code should you choose to want to try some of these. I've looked through it. I've cooked a couple of them. They're really amazing. I can absolutely vouch for that pickle dip with the ruffles. It's fantastic. So that's something that you will find coming into your inbox shortly. And then Justin, if you have a moment, I know it's kind of windy and I'm not sure how all of our connection will work, but Kendall-Jackson winery is actually Kendall-Jackson Wine Estates and Garden, because they have this beautiful, stunning garden attached to the winery or with the winery. And that's where so many of the ingredients come into the kitchen. So when travel allows for people to go and visit, it's a great place to be, to taste the wines and just to kind of taste the bounty of California right there from the backyard. So Justin, do you want to try to take a trip into the garden and see if we can...
I'm gonna plug in a mic, and hopefully that helps with the wind, because usually this time of day we start to get some cool air coming in from the ocean. Okay. So we're gonna head out there right now. Hopefully I keep you online, but if not, thank you so much.
Okay.
Good luck out there.
Yeah. All right. Let's see.
So this garden where Justin is headed is absolutely spectacular.
And how big is it, Randy? Do you know? How many acres?
Oh, several acres, and it's all organic. Tucker Taylor is in charge of the gardens there, and it's just absolutely amazing. We have one area in the garden that's like a demonstration vineyard, and then you move into the affinities garden. So if you go out with Chardonnay, all these different flavors there, like lemon and lime and pears.
Can y'all hear me still? We still got a good connection.
Thumbs up.
Can you plug it in? And
we got you.
Can y'all still hear me? Sorry.
Yeah.
So we got beautiful bocce courts over here. The acre, it's probably about 3.5, 4 acres planted. You can see we have a lot of flowers around the outside of the garden, and that's to bring in beneficial insects and pollinators. We also have 5 different beehives in the garden with 5 active hives right now. You'll see Tucker has a lot of the rows covered, and basically he takes a pipe bender and makes these little mini hoop houses so we can create miniature greenhouses basically. We got some beautiful chai blossoms here. Can they hear me? I think so. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Where are the oyster leaves?
The oyster leaves in the back. Yeah, Tucker grows some cool stuff that most people haven't seen. Like we have this one leaf called oyster leaf, and you taste it, and it tastes exactly like an oyster. It's absolutely crazy. This behind Tommy right here is a white mulberry tree. We have fennel popping out. This vegetable over here is cardoon. It's like a cousin of the artichoke.
Oh.
Lots of different mints here. These are California bay leaf trees. Today we had a lot of gleaners out. Gleaners are people who come and harvest food for folks that are in need. So Chef Dusky Estes is in charge of a company called nonprofit called Farm to Pantry. So they were out here picking salad and vegetables and giving that to restaurants who prepare meals for people in need of food right now. A huge batch of tarragon right here. So it looks like I can make lots of pickle dip.
Lots of pickle dip.
And then over here we have our white wine and red wine sensory gardens. So we kind of plant things that are descriptors for Chardonnay, Cabernet, all the different varieties. So you can smell a lemon or taste lemon verbena, and it's broken down into different spots, which is really fun. This is Cassis right here. And then, so this is the Pinot Noir descriptor garden. I like to call it the scratch and sniff garden. So we have cherries and plum and strawberry and violet and a lot of the red fruit flavors. Over here is more Cabernet. So we have blackberry and tobacco and chocolate mint. So a lot bigger flavors for Cabernet. You can see the poppies are just amazing, California poppies right now. In the back of the garden, that's a fava beans. And then this is our white wine sensory garden. So in the Sauvignon Blanc garden, we'd have Meyer lemon and finger limes, which are really cool, lime caviar. We can walk over this way. Some beautiful Swiss chard. carrots. Tucker has like 6 different kinds of mint over here. Chocolate mint that when you smell it, it smells exactly like an Andes chocolate mint. One of my favorites is strawberry mint, and to me, it smells exactly like Hubba Bubba bubblegum, like the old school bubblegum flavors. We have pineapple mint, orange mint, all kinds of different mints over there. 2 beehives in the back. This is our wood burning pizza oven. And so we'll set up a little mobile kitchen out here. And then we set one long table down the center of the garden, and we do these farm to table dinners each month. And we sit 150 people. We have the person who caught the seafood or raised the lamb or raised the duck. We bring in local cheesemakers. Randy, the winemaker, sits at the table. Tucker, our gardener's there. And it's this really magical evening. We have live music, and the sun sets in the garden, and we make beautiful desserts, and the trees have lighting in them, and it just lights up. It's one of my favorite events that we do. So if you ever have the opportunity, we do it the second Saturday of each month, usually starting in May. It's a lot of fun. If you're here, come see us.
Okay, Justin, can you hear us? No?
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna wrap everything up. I thank you for sharing that about the farm to table too, because that is a phenomenal event, and when travel allows, is a great way to kind of experience all kind of the bounty of Sonoma. Either way, I mean, Kendall-Jackson, the winery, the estate is a wonderful and exciting place to visit. I want to thank you, Randy, and you, Justin, for joining us, for sharing the wines, your passion for the wines, your vision for the wines, for just making these wines overall, and of course for those wonderful food pairings, all of them. They were absolutely delicious. So again, all of you at home, we will be sending you something about the cookbook, but Randy, thank you, Justin, and thank you all for coming to listen to us. Thanks.
Have a great day.
Yes, cheers.
Cheers.
It's both a science and a form of high art. It's made from the combination of grapes, sunlight, rain, soil, and time. It's raised up in the moments that matter. It's wine. And we are Wine.com. We have the largest wine selection in the world, online sommeliers with free advice, and now our powerful new app puts the entire world of wine in your hands. Wine.com. Seriously passionate about wine. Download our free app today.